show up at 3, 4, or 5 o'clock. Once the communication is open and we are informed, we will be willing to make the adjustment. There is a touchy issue of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. Liberia belongs to all of us. It is difficult to manage, to restrict, except where people are willing and have a desire to do so. So we want to appeal to you. So talk to your partisans and your following that hate speech, fake news, disinformation for propaganda purposes do not overwhelm for all of us. This is based on respect for the rules, respect for one another, love for country, to avoid a situation that at the end of the day will prove difficult to manage. There is the issue of announcement by political parties. Early announcement, we noticed this in neighboring Ministerial. It almost plunged the country into disaster. We again appeal to you. Some of the matters we must say do not fall in the purview of the national security, but of course, anything that will prove to be toxic and lead to insecurity becomes the responsibility of all of us. So that is why we are making these observations and hoping that we'll take them in good faith. And at the end of the day, we will have a very peaceful, democratic, and credible election. We provide security to the process up to now. There has been no mishap or difficult situation coming from the voters' registration to where we are. All of the activities have been protected by us, and we are appealing to you to help us do that in a more effective way. With that, we can open the floor for interaction. We want this to be an interactive process. But basically, this is the message we want to deliver to you today. Thank you.
Mr. Justice.
So, Alan, please, give the mic.
Thank you. Morning again, everyone. Mr. Minister, I'm very happy that you and your ministry and the government is proactive with respect to security. The one thing that I would like to introduce to you as an observation is perhaps you should have a contingency plan that in spite of your efforts to have a peaceful election, that if there is electoral violence, that you will have a contingency plan to contain rapidly, to make sure that there's no escalation, that the lives and property of all Liberians are protected, that the ministers and officials of government, diplomats are protected, that all the citizens are protected, that the aspirants here today are all protected. And I'm just pointing this as something to consider. Thank you.
I think it's better just to respond to each.
Yes. The security is capable, but we also know that the best security comes from the people. That's why we are here. We've done a lot of community policing work. We want a friendly atmosphere. We want a cordial relationship. I see security in terms of restrictions and the use of force is for the minority, it's for the few deviants. When the majority of the people are willing to abide by the law, you don't have a situation that is difficult to manage. So yes, we are capable and we are ready. Honor our constitution and law. Here there is going to stand by if there is any situation that the joint security, civilian security cannot manage. Of course, the DFF comes in. So we are ready. We are fully prepared. But again, we want to limit any atrocities or difficulties. We want this process to be as peaceful as possible.
Mr. Minister, and I appreciate hearing that. I just wanted to make that observation, and I want to make sure that I put on record that, of course, I'm a peaceful a citizen, and I'm not asking because I ain't planning anything at all. All right, thank you, Mr. Minister.
Good morning again. Mr. Minister, first and foremost, thank you very much for providing the security that you have stated so far. And I will take the message back to my group about that clothing, because I think it's very, very important that our people don't wear clothing that will be confusion with the security apparatus. I'm very glad that you brought that up to light, and my people and I will express that profoundly to our members. Thanks again very much for the security you have offered to provide.
Never mind. Thank you to the Joint Security Committee. As I said, I represent the CPP, Mr. Alexander Cummings, and Councilor Charlie Johnson. Well, we want to thank you for convening this meeting and ensuring that the political parties have a voice and have engagement on this discussion relative to security. But I think what's even more important is to hear what efforts the government is making to ensure that your soldiers, your police officers, your immigration officers are in fact being trained on non-partisanship. We know what happens in this country very recently when some high-level security personnel were seen wearing the CDC t-shirts. It is one thing for us as political parties to make a commitment, but if those at the highest level of government do not disavow any partisanship with the current ruling establishment, it automatically creates insecurity on our behalf. So I'd like to know what efforts are being made proactively on your behalf to ensure that your personnel realize that they have no allegiance to CDC, but that they have allegiance to the country. And secondly, I'd like to know if anyone from the ruling party is represented here today.
Thank you very much, Councilor, for that observation. We are taking consideration of the incident of the recent past. We train our neutrality as security forces. As you know, we are undertaking very rigorous orientation of all our forces with respect to the constitutional duty and non-partisan security participants. So that is being reinforced, and especially incompetently those be assigned to all of the political actors here. So because the letters of invitation to this meeting were sent to all of the parties. As you observe, some here we can't account for the absence, but we would like to assure you that everyone was invited.
Thank you. Minister, maybe you answer the question because it wasn't answered fully. I really would like to know if there are efforts within each agency for training with your personnel so that they, if you can let us know what is happening so that we are secure in our persons, in our homes, that there are active efforts by the government to ensure that you're safe.
Thank you. And let me address by saying President, Commander-in-Chief in waiting, and Vice in waiting, and orders. Before I go specifically to Councilor Bronson's question on partisanship within the security sector, I would just like to use this time to begin to restate the armed forces of Liberia mission, which I believe in relationship to our question, and then I come down with the issue of what are we doing as an agency security. Our own mission here is to support the Johnson Security headed by the Liberian National Police, meaning there's a parallel command, though the chairman of the Johnson Security is the Minister of Justice, but he cannot direct the armed forces of Liberia. He can only make a request in order for the armed forces to come in. Parallel in assist to monitor what is going on within the Johnson-Sirleaf. And when there's a need, I'm already addressed to know how to respond. And the only time you will find the armed forces coming in is when the Johnson-Sirleaf can no longer handle the situation. Either they are overwhelmed and there's a need for the armed forces to come in. A clear example is the one from your candidate, which Mariah is a witness to, Councillor Yakula is a witness to, in Zwerdu, when the police was overwhelmed, where the standard bearer of the CPP hotel he was in was being ransacked by some protester. The police requested through the IG to the Minister of Justice, to the Commander-in-Chief. Immediately, we responded. We extracted the team of CPP partisans that were there, especially, and escorted him as far as Nima County, where he was safe in that route, and he left. That is the instance for which we can come in. To come back, what are we doing in an instance of partisanship within? As you may be aware, the armed forces of Liberia is apolitical. What we have learned from the TRC reports of previous elections, specifically the 1985 elections, the role of the armed forces, that is why you will not see any of our personnel during elections. We have quick reaction platoons strategically positioned in 15 counties or based on the threat levels within to respond when necessary. The AFL has a code of conduct that came into play 2017. In that code of conduct, our personnel are not allowed to be seen with any paraphernalia of any political party. We are not allowed for anybody to visit our barracks with party emblems on them. In our code of conduct that we have, the commander's responsibility is to make sure that code of conduct is enforced within. Number two is our personnel. They are not allowed to go to vote in uniform. They can only go in color clothes to vote. One of the examples I was making for 85 is that those 2,080 precincts that we have, or 5,000 plus, election polling station for the 2023 elections, we have decided not to even have polling station. In 85, we reported to the Washington Post that the polling station is shuffling. They have soldiers that voted multiple times, it was alleged, as shopping barracks. That is why today we don't accept any polling stations in any of our barracks. We prefer going off-staff for our personnel to go to vote and then come back and we are supervised that. In our code of conduct, another example I will give you for our defendants. They are not allowed to take paraphernalia in our barracks. And if, for instance, my wife want to contest the election, she's asked to leave the barracks after her campaign to go. So those are some of the measures. We'll be willing to share our code of conduct. We'll be going publicly on that, again, to play since 2017. But again, when I say you found 100% of our personnel, that is why we're here in dialogue, that if you find any of our personnel involved in violations, please report it to us. We can assure you, under this leadership of the Minister of Defense, we are ready to take action immediately in any of these instances. If you find any senior personnel with paraphernalia, just send I can show you, we have zero tolerance on that. That person will be ordered in military. So if you want to be partisan, There is call for separation, we will go you up, you go do your barrister, but not on a day. So that code of conduct is one of the examples that I've been since 2017 that I can show you that we used in 2017. It's staying in the system. We're going to use it for this time. So I will stop there and say, just to reassure you that you will not see any of my personnel. You will see this man in police, but when he's overwhelmed, I will definitely come in to sustain this peace that we all have. Thank you.
Okay, to further answer the question, I will turn over to Melvin Sakor, one of two, who will elaborate on the stand of the entire joint security.
Thank you. Again, I'm Melvin Sakor, the Ministerial Police Operation. So, Councilor Grossman, just to answer the question that you raised with regard to institutional instruction on the poor conduct, like the minister said, the Liberia Police has a professional standard department. We, by law, we have the right, constitutional mandate to protect and defend our citizens. But one thing we need to take into consideration that there's always some individual who will want to manage the process. That's the reason why we have a professional standard department that's on the obligation to investigate our own, come up with a finding, and send to the Ministerial Police for immediate action. So the whole election process is a joint security approach. Currently, to speak, there have been ongoing training at the Liberia Police Academy that captured the entire security sector with the exception of the AFL. So the LIS, the DEA, the fire center, the police are currently trained on what we call the rule of law, human rights, the use of force continuum, and their conduct has to do with not portraying as partisan or joint security personnel. So international partners are part of that process. They are coordinated with the joint security area issue that happens. So we have, I know there will be a quite a follow-up question, why is it just in Monserrato? So what we decided to do train up the trainers. So we have trainers from all the security sector that are currently trained, that are going into the counties to go and train our personnel that we have within the 15 of the West South of this country. So to answer your question again, there's ongoing training, and we will show all of the candidates and the population that we will do our best in making sure that the minister said, and it's on our obligation to make sure the election is free, fair, and transparent. We on our obligation in making sure that we protect the process. So those officers are being cautioned for the action we want to assure you that immediate action will be taken when that is discovered. Thank you.
Okay, to close on that, the training that our officers are undertaking the entire joint security, the training was sponsored by the United Nations and the American Embassy, the INL. Most likely the training is all about the do and don't. As a police officer, what you need to do during and after the election, because you find out that during the electoral process, the training of policing is kind of relaxed. I would say relaxed in the sense that the police, we always thought our officers would be very extremely tolerant, and they will always exercise maximum restraint. So a police officer or joint security will be deployed here, probably a partisan will be passing, spit on him. He will just brush up the spit and let him go. Even if he stopped the law enforcement, who allow him to go, because just a little trickle from the joint security could be really entire electoral process. So usually before we have any election, we usually take our officers back on the training base to ensure that they are trained to the do and don't during the electoral period. Also, we did not even start to only those officers of police the entire election. We went as far as the riot control. So during riot control, we taught our officers how to mostly do knowledge extraction. So if there's a problem and John Brown is in the group causing problem and we are notified, we'll go there to extract that person in a very quiet room that will not degrade the rest of the people campaign or process that is being going on. So we train our people to do extraction so as to ensure that the process is being handled quietly. Thank you.
All right. I think part of the councilor's question goes to trust. And I would just like to say that honesty is the foundation of confidence building. We did admit to a shortcoming in that instance. Apologize. And of course, we noticed that part of it was due to lack of knowledge. So we recommitted ourselves to the public and we said, look, this will not occur again. And our officers are now very aware that this is a violation and that this should not reoccur. So there's a marriage, you know, when you catch your husband in indiscretion one time and you continue to carry it, then maybe you don't want the marriage. You gotta say, okay, he erred, but let's make progress. And you can see that we have strived to make progress in the country. Few years ago, for instance, protest was seen as a nightmare. We now, as we say, institutionalize the process. But anybody now can come and say, look, I want a permit to enter the street and express myself. Once it's peaceful, once it's not going to be disruptive of traffic and the peace of other people, the safety of other people, we've allowed it. So we are making progress. Okay, somebody just entered that thing and I just want him to introduce himself, please.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. My name is Ernest Clark. I'm CDC National Organization Chairman. I'm also the Deputy Cabinet Chair for Logistics for All-Round Military Team. I want to applaud the organizer of this meeting. This is good for Liberia. I look around the queue, I see a lot of my friends. I see my people, Jacob Akoli, and a lot of people here that I know. That means that we all are Liberians, and we have to protect peace. At the level of the CDC, at the level of the CDC, we are ready to work with all the political parties, including the national security team that's here, to make sure that this election was peaceful, very peaceful. I was telling somebody the other day, we in CDC is like a little boy coming from the market with a collar head in his hand, and you need to fight if you want to fight him. And you decide to put a head in his hand and fight in front. So the first thing we'll try to protect is the head while fighting, so he will lose the fight. So we got a head in our hand, and because of that, we'll protect it. Just the other day, we were out in the street trying to put flags up.
Excuse me, sir.
I will introduce myself. Oh, all right, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just introduce yourself and you let people in the room. They ask 20 questions, and then after that, you come.
All right, thank you, sir. So I think everybody got me. Thank you.
Just a minute, there are two vehicles in which I said to be blocking the entrance. A23457, a 4-runner, and A66781. Will you kindly look into removing your vehicles, please? She has the information of the vehicle owners need to speak to her. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
The message started very clearly and very politely, but it's becoming a little bit going out of whack. A little bit specific. And now we're finding when I come to talk to the government or the press, I the issue as it is. But I have four major questions. As you are talking, developing one, you are talking about full security being assigned to each party. Please clarify if each of the candidates, like the president and the vice president, will have four each, or the four candidates will be assigned to the party. Question number two, you talk about uniform. This uniform are presented or people are purchased that look like police uniform. To address that, what is the government plan put in place now, not tomorrow, now, since the campaign has been declared, to protect every candidate in this room that will be going for the election? Number three, we talk about misinformation. What media or what is put in place as we go further to contain some of this misinformation? Because there are some on the internet, whether it's Facebook, whether it's WhatsApp, whatever it is, but they all have negative impact on election and the governing system of our country. Number four, you're talking about security voting. I'm very concerned. This question put to all the security apparatus sitting here. How are they voting? Let me give you people an example. Other countries around the world, when they are voting, the day before they voting for the public, the officer go into their camp and vote there, and the result is presented to the government. And do you people have anything in place for our officers? They are also citizens of our country, regardless of the uniform they wear. So they must be given chance. They are number and leader by each political party here to win. So what are your plans put in place? These are things I'm looking at. And I also want to tell you people, the idea of me holding the mic and you allow a sedition to come in and give a deliberation that was supposed to be made before this time is a violation of my right and the right of every political party in this room. Thank you.
One about the four officers. They are assigned to the candidates, the presidential and vice presidential candidates. That will be four each.
Four per institution.
Four per institution.
So you can decide what you want to do. You want to give them to your representative candidate, you want to give them to your senatorial candidate, or four for each institution.
When it comes to the dress code, some of the things are not legislated, and it has proved to be a bit daunting for us. We toyed with having the president issue an executive order. We're looking at the enforceability of such an order. But we are hoping that the culture among the parties will address some of these issues. For example, misinformation. I recall that in America, when some of the news outlets were bashing Trump, and Trump seemed unpopular with most of them, one of them said something that was not correct. And all the other news outlets said you have to provide evidence. If you don't, your credibility is gone. I think it is this kind of culture that we have to build to address these areas where there are no laws to address them. For example, somebody comes out with misinformation. What really can the security do? But because it affects security, it affects the perception of people, which is very important and crucial to security. So we are asking you to create a standard, a culture among yourselves that can regulate this. with respect to our security personnel voting, that's a very important point. In the past, they put them on what was called an auxiliary list. There was a Supreme Court opinion that said this list wouldn't be formulated, but that had occurred when people who were not on the register. So we have to go back to the Elections Commission and say, look, this is not about people who are not on the register. These are people who are performing security duties away from where they are registered. And maybe in communication with the Supreme Court, we can have a proper interpretation of what they meant when they said do not permit an auxiliary list on an extra list, and they can be able to vote. But you are right, we have to address that issue. You are right, sir.
I think the issue is more of an appeal. This is the example concerning you. Please, I will say it like hold your security you got. Please don't allow them to wear the uniform like the guard, the camouflage there. Please. People will misunderstand the issue of seeing an individual and think it is an AFL person. The law says you have to put the parchment, the flag, the name tag before it becomes impersonation. But sometimes you see some political parties carrying the security, wearing just the BTU, the blouse, or the tapper, acting as security. And sometimes I get called, why are AFL people there? And I have to explain, no, they are not. Not everybody called me. So it's just to appeal. We hold your foot. Please stop allowing your own personal security using state security uniforms. I even sometimes get calls from my international friends. I see people wearing like the U.S. Marine uniform, other countries' uniform. Remember, I called you President and Commander-in-Chief in waiting. How will you feel somebody calling you when you are occupying that position, seeing the uniform being used in their country? It's just an appeal. You are close to state power. We have to observe, especially the law of your personal security. They are not. That's why they gave you the police. Please avoid them using state uniform, especially my uniform. The BTU, the common flag, what I'm wearing here. Or I will appeal to you, stop using foreign uniforms. You are close to state power. You are violating those countries. Regulation, that's an appeal we want to appeal.
Okay, I would like to add on what the minister said concerning this and this information. Joint security take this information very key because this information has the propensity to erode any kind of peace process. So what we did, we had a meeting with the President of Liberia, and they too were very concerned about this type of information. We also put to them as to how they are during the counting process. We told them whatsoever they will be announcing will be unofficial. So they should announce and to inform the public that whatsoever announcement they give is not the actual announcement as the actual announcement. This discussion with the President, and they too, they are very much waiting to work with us, not too far distant, probably tomorrow, the other tomorrow, we could be signing an MOU to work together when there is information on the social media that is against the interest of the country. Both the Liberia National Police, the President will come together to debunk such statements. So we are working in that direction. We are also asking all political parties to do the same, because the rocketing comment that will derail the peace process will be a national security issue. So we, like the General said, you people are president in waiting, so we all should keep the peace by not spreading this and this information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm Councillor Musa Dean, by way of observation. From the inception of your introductory statement, Mr. Minister, you commented that the AFL has been transformed into a foe for good. When you fell short of making similar statements related to the police, I don't know why. But my concern has to do with the personnel in green uniform or olive green you see in the street. I want to know whether or not they are going to participate in the electoral process. What will they do if they will participate? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question and observation. The Liberia National Police have had a training session for some of our citizens so as to argue the strength of the joint security during this election. So those you see in the green uniform are officers from the Liberia National Police, people who have been trained and they are on their field training. So they are doing the field training, they are constantly from dialogue they recruit to a zone police officer. So by the 19th of this month, there should be a graduation for those who are on the field training, and based upon the graduation, they will be fully or they will be given full police uniform to exercise the function as a zone police officer. So they are only wearing the green because they are on field training. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think firstly, I was impressed with the speed at which the city was convened. If you remember, Tuesday we were at the neck. And I was one of those that first raised the issue of security. In fact, I was the first to raise the issue of security. And you promised to take action, Honorable Minister, and to see us here today within a week's time having the city. I want to thank you for taking our concerns very seriously, to acknowledge that. I would like to look on the previous point made by Councillor Bronsky in terms of neutrality. And let's not pretend like we don't know our body politics has had this perennial problem of fusion of ruling party and government. I remember being in Charles government, people came to our Ministerial of Health, people were asking who's MVP and who's not MVP. If you weren't MVP, you put on a list so you would lose your job. So we've had that problem, over time. I know as a country we're working on it, but we cannot ignore the fact that it does exist. Now we hear you all today in terms of your commitment to the security forces neutrality. But I think it's important for us to know that we do have this problem across several government institutions. And for example, I will give one example of the airport. I won't go into the specifics, I just want you all to take note of the fact that when you talk about neutrality across government, not only the security forces. The second point I would like to make is on party militancy. When you talk about party militants, specified uniforms. And I know we may not all go into the issues here, but there are fears and concerns about the ruling party's militants. And we just want to put on the table the fact that what you're saying should apply to everyone across the board. Militancy isn't only about uniform, it's about training, it's about the perception given to the population about the intent of these trainings and so forth. So let's put that on the table that there are those concerns and fears amongst the populace, and perception is reality. Whether it's true or not is another thing, but perception is reality. When people perceive that, they have that fear, and those fears add up to tensions going into elections. So anything we can do to minimize that and to allay the population, we could. Lastly, disinformation and misinformation. Sunday, I was receiving so many forwards of a church service where it was heavily attended by government, and somebody made a declaration there that they will be securing or ensuring 3 billion votes for the incumbent for our president. So now we had people who may not be as informed saying also that 3 billion voters. Automatically people start to think,
we have registered voters when we don't. And nobody in that space corrected that. Until nobody has corrected that. So misinformation, disinformation, managing it is incumbent on all of us, not only the opposition parties. The ruling establishment must also take responsibility as well. Because the peace, the sustainable peace of Liberia depends on all of us. All of us is a collective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think this is a learning process, and as I said, I believe we are making progress. We have come today to show you of the responsibility of the security apparatus, of the joint security. Taking cue from what you said, we'll be holding a discussion with the civil service director with respect to some of these matters. We've said championing office premises, putting posters around office premises, especially government offices, should not be permitted. So, of course, we'll be having a meeting. But in the immediate, we want to show you of the neutrality of the national security apparatus. You have people in all parties that are overly exuberant and may not be so knowledgeable in a way. And within the press too. The press is there, you need to play a part too. For example, what the Kennedy had just said, the press will have picked out and said, look, but we don't have 3 million voters. That will educate the people, and that will, of course, contribute to an atmosphere of transparent information. So the press has to be robust. Everybody has to be. But indeed, we take note. Yes, sir?
Thank you so much. I'm the Erasmus founder again from the Presidential Aspirants Conservation Party. And I'd like to thank you people for this taking. You know, normally the Liberia would like for people to do these things for us. But today we can see that we are doing the thing we can do for ourselves. So let's give ourselves a pat on the back, okay? I'm actually impressed. But I like to actually observe, and then you will have to tell me, even though I'm concerned about the capacity of our security, especially this election period. Normally, when things happen, even in the community, you will call police. I'm sorry, but let me say this. We should not actually just speak anything under the floor or under the bed. They will tell you, we don't have car, we don't have this. So, we want us all to be here in the well-informed manner that we have the capacity to provide security for this electionary period. Capacity in terms of logistics, manpower, because the chief of staff alluded to a situation in Liberia where the police got overwhelmed. And you know and I know that we do not have the police power in all of the counties where the campaign will be taking place, the election will take place. So this is our concern, and we want us to actually take note of that. If we have the capacity, fine, I will be able to. We do not. The question is, have we made any extra effort to get our partners to support us for this? This is why, so that our capacity will be beefed up. Then, what's the security arrangement during and after elections? You know, most of the time we don't have problems during election time, but post-election, this is where we have to actually put our thinking cap on to see how best certain things will be contained after elections. Remember, this is the first test for us. When the international forces withdrew, they don't go here. So of us conducting this election. It will be a plus for us if we have a free, fair election and a very clear transfer of power without any skirmishes. The international community will say yes, Liberia is not only all for nothing. We are all 166 years. So this is why for us we are not present. Earlier on, I told some friends that we needed a robust special police force to be brought to interspersed with our security here for the elections. But again, let's go through the test. Let's go through the test. It's all of us. I think I should stop this part. There are so many things I've done that, but we will talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think your question is very, very loaded. Just unpack it by saying that we are prepared for the elections. We have had some issues with logistics and why we can take that out. And I will not tell you that we are 100% on the level that we think we should be. But I've always said that every security situation is there with the people to solve that issue. When I say that it is there with the people, no matter how prepared you are, the people themselves don't want peace within our peace. So this is why one of those areas that we identified was the civil review topic, so that we can, because we don't want to reach to the point of de-escalating the situation. We want to deconflict it, and this is what we are doing. We assign security forces with you, and you can tell us some of your gaps, you can tell us some of your concerns, then of course we can solve it where we should the points where we can no longer solve it. As it is to liaison with our international partners, yes, we are doing that. We do not sit here and tell you all of the arrangements we are making, the disposition of our forces, but I can tell you we are prepared for the election. There will be some gaps, but I think we will optimize the resources that we have with your help. Thank you.
Well, thank you. My name is Elizabeth Janice Lear. I am the Vice Presidential candidate for the Liberia Restoration Party. I know you spoke about the assigned securities, and you spoke about the trainings that you are conducting, and also the do's and don'ts. My question is, what mandate are these assigned securities coming to us with? Who is going to instruct them? You have always also written down some don'ts and do's, so I don't mind. I don't know if you mind giving us an overview of what these don'ts and do's are, because they are coming. We need to know what mandate they are coming with. Thank you.
Earlier, the Minister of Justice talked about the needed area for us. I think that's soon to get through the names of persons from each institution. I think each protocol has a security head who handles the security details. We need that contact in the Zoom person that will liaise our command center, the team that will be with you. To work on anything that may happen that will happen. The people that will understand they are your BRP security to protect your attack people. That is their core mandate. They are trained, they will be briefed properly to ensure that your BRP are well protected. That's the core mandate they're coming with. I can't go there with problems that have been developed here, like the coordinator to your Zoom officers and your chief security person will be there to pass information to them, through them, to our command center to
monitor your deployment, your campaign programs, when you are moving your timetable, and based on those information, the largest security deployment will be done. So, but yeah, we have people who are to coordinate security with your team and the big ground security generally co-function.
Okay, thank you, but I don't think we want to overlook this. I don't think we want to overlook this because when you are assigning these securities to us, and you are saying the mandate is to protect us, and we want to look at a situation where anything could happen. Let's say, okay, we are leaving, we are doing this, and giving them instructions. Who are they answerable to? Because you just named, they will take, briefing from this point to another. I'm just concerned about that, so I hope you don't mind.
You need protection. The reactors are the people are the subject of the beneficiary of the protection services we provide. So if you have issue through the coordination, through the liaison, we know. So they are answerable to the fact of the
No. Okay, let me clear that. Let me clear that. I think I'm going to see. Let me try to verify. Now, this is why we are asking for your security, your personal security coordinator. This is why we want that person's contact. They are not going to determine where we go or where we don't. So, for example, if you are living in Congo Town and you are going for a campaign rally in prison wall, your personal security guard will let them know that the man is going to prison wall today about time, and they are just going to escort you. Now, with the issue of who are they answerable to? They are answerable to the Joint Security. They are answerable to the Joint Security. They are just there to help you, guide you, and report any irregularities that will be surrounding your movement, your security, your violence, but they are answerable to you. They have the chain of command, but they will coordinate with respect to the movement, anything you want to do.
Thank you. And just to follow up on her thing, let me just put in qualified. So basically, the person security says we're going to this order, and the assigned security says we're not going. So, at that point, the assigned security says the accountable is reporting to the Joint Security. He or she says, well, I thought from what means we're not going. No. So what I say, we're not going. No. Okay. Or maybe he said a security will go out back and check the at least or if information you share for me, you listen. Yes. Okay. So
not only are we willing to replace it, but we are flexible to the extent of accommodating you if you particularly those will be comfortable. Once they are security personnel, properly trained, and you said, I want this man, we're willing to make that adjustment.
Mr. Minister, you answered my question before I asked it.
All right, thank you. So my questions, I wanted to cycle back on the issue about this. I know all the departments signed the common agreement, and just being clear as to what violence is going to be helpful, whether it's what's stated in the common agreement, whether it includes provocation, intimidation, because there's certain way of violence in there, there's something violence and fighting or whatever, but there's other subtle forms of violence that should be addressed as well. So I think clarity on what constitutes violence or whether the common agreement will be reliable, which the issues of violence can be addressed, because we've seen people carrying caskets, citizens carrying caskets, we've seen reports of motorbikes being intimidated because they have certain kind of stickers on them, and all of those constitute violence in our opinion. So I think it's important that it's clear as to what constitutes
violence, and not just with the robberies and the physical fights. My questions include one, the joint security, is the joint security going to take notice of violence County on its own and investigate, or will you still be expecting parties to do official complaints and reports? That's one. Two, back to neutrality, we're not going to go ourselves. We know a lot of our officers, police officers, usually work under the authority of county or government officials. We've seen instances of that. The chief of staff referenced the Liberia incident with the CPP where the superintendent basically controlled the local police and had the local police not intervene appropriately, which forced the army to intervene. And so that's critical given that campaigns are going to be in all of the different counties. So if we have police officers that are under the authority of the superintendents of these counties giving them instructions, and they're not going to protect candidates, we understand that the army will be deploying people, the army in the different counties, but before the army comes in or intervene, it takes a lot of conversations. You have to be calling around, you have to have joint security, whatever needs to be done. You may not have the luxury of time. So there has to be assurance to the parties that police officers in the counties or even in Montreal will act as necessary and not under the policing practices of county or government officials. Another incident, of course, we see, and I don't know whether this falls within joint security as well, city police under Major Koji also takes on police power. I've seen that in District 13, where there were police officers working with the mayor and violence erupted during that period. We need to understand how is the joint security going to also control that group, because there has been incidents of violence associated with the mayor and that group. And lastly, the impartiality of the investigation being done. For example, if the police is investigating violence that has to do with other officials that are implicated or involved, how impartial would this investigation be given that you're investigating your own police or officials? And lastly, there are some joint security officials who have identified public assassinations. So how can we, as political parties, also be assured of the impartiality of some of these very joint security officials that we're supposed to be looking forward to protecting everyone? Thank you.
Thank you. We don't intend to be these elections are going to be the first presidential and legislative combined to be conducted exclusively by agreement. In the past, Ombe was here and picked up very major portion of the security obligations. Like I said, we continue to learn from what has transpired and to make progress. The only observation I want to make is that as well as the distinction of course between verbal attack and physical. We hope that the verbal can be controlled by all of us in this room, talking to our following to tune down. The physical, we are there to show that there is no physical contact between individuals. It's like if somebody were even renting your house and they didn't pay, you cannot go and throw him out. The law. Instances where we've investigated and sent people to court. But those who were alleged victims were more interested in saying the matter remained unresolved than going to court and cooperating in prosecuting these people. If we want to help the country and help ourselves, then we have to follow through. We investigate, we arrest people, we send them to court. Some people just refuse to go. A case in point, like I said, I don't want to be defensive. The last matter at the University of Liberia,
We couldn't even find a victim to campaign.